Having tools like Workato allows folks across the business to just think bigger picture and to basically dream bigger dreams in terms of like what they want. Because it's a lot more like we can actually do a lot more with Workato. My name is Jason Bilog. I've been at Patreon since January of 2020. I'm currently the data operations manager. I sit on the data science team. Recently joined the team from our go-to-market team. So we got Workato, I want to say December of last year, and between callable recipes and main sort of pipelines, I've probably created well over 150 probably at this point. And for me personally, just being able to be at a company where I really do value their mission really actually means a lot to me. And so it's kind of like being able to feel like I am contributing to like our broader mission of helping creators get paid for the value that they produce, helping folks within the creator economy in my little sort of like neck of the woods of just like doing stuff with Workato. I feel like super, I guess like I feel very grateful and thankful that I'm at this place. We have all these tickets that go-to-market has created. We'll likely continue to have more as we expand the team. We have limited engineering resources. Basically, when I was trying to go about like selling Workato internally or some sort of solution that would allow us to address these tickets, basically when I had like a massive spreadsheet and I shared it with like our data science, data engineering, security folks, and I just asked them, hey, like these are some of the things that go-to-market would like to do or like to have within the next ideally quarter. How long would it take for all this work to be done? And they were saying, they being like my colleagues internally were like, this is actually going to take like a person, like a full-time job for like a solid quarter to do all this. Like, given the cost of Workato, I definitely like it makes much more sense to just procure this solution instead. Like many people, like I looked at Gartner, looked at Forrester, just like see what's going on. But I think for me, at least just as a buyer procure of these products, it's like, what is my network talking about? I think the fact that I'd like some of the folks in like the marketing operations community, they had used Workato before and like they thought it was like pretty like really easy to just do what you need to do from like a sales and marketing perspective, was kind of why I was very much like clued in on Workato in particular. I might have had like demos with like Trey and MuleSoft, but like the conversation wasn't as, I didn't really bother to kind of go deep with like those other players either, because after a certain point, I'm just like, okay, like, am I getting what like I need to be getting from Workato? Are the folks internally like security, data engineering, data science, like do they all see this being like a valuable use case and meets what we need? If yes, like let's not waste any time and let's just move on. I thought Workato allowed like us, on the go-to-market side to do what we needed to do to just like get our, to start crossing these tickets off the list. And that's kind of where I was like, okay, like how quickly can we just get this to scale? It allows us to just quickly stand up something really quickly. And so, being able to just like do things on our own without having to basically submit a ticket to IT, I think again, like that's another huge unlock for us where we feel, I think that's what Workato says, like the citizen developer, like it's a very easy process for us to just like, okay, like what's the use case? Like, what do we need? Where is it from? Go. And it's a pretty straightforward thing that, honestly, we wouldn't have been able to do without Workato. So it's pretty awesome. It's really easy to overlook the fact that life would have been very different if we didn't have Workato. And so like, something simple as we had like another custom object in Salesforce that was stood up like earlier this week. And like, we needed to be able to query that report or that table within mode so that we could like have other downstream reports reflect that information for some meetings internally. And like, it was a very quick thing of, okay, like, let me just use Workato, like pull this information into Redshift. I can just like turn this on, it'll update like weekly. And it's like, that took me like a day. And it's like, I think that sort of process would have never been possible if like we didn't have Workato. All of this work would have been really just a bunch of IT tickets that like basically would go into someone's backlog that would never be addressed. Another use case that we had was so with we run like what we call creator trust surveys. So just like customer surveys, basically, to figure out and get a sense of, hey, how do folks like the product? And previously, the sort of, I would say, the ETLing of that data from Qualtrics, getting it transformed and putting it into Redshift would take, like, it was just such a process. Whereas now, with Workato, I'm connecting into the Qualtrics API. It takes me literally minutes to just transform the data, and then I let my colleague in, like my data science colleague, know, hey, like the data is available in Redshift, like have at it. So it's like what would have taken like at least a solid week is literally like from start to finish. It's like a matter of like basically minutes, honestly. With Workato, we're able to do things that we would have never been able to even think of doing, basically. I think so many of these use cases are would have been things that honestly would have just dead end via like a ticket. um, and basically would be end of story. Having Workato allows, I think, the whole, at least go-to-market organization to be more sort of think bigger in terms of what do we want, because we aren't necessarily limited by purely just like constraints as it relates to we don't have like the engineering resources to do any of this. Workata does allow us to do so much more that I think honestly we still haven't really figured out, all the use cases, which is like the great thing about having Workato is that like, we only have looked at it from a data engineering, data pipeline, ETLing perspective, but there's so much from like the app automation side of the house that we really just haven't done at all that, my colleagues in IT are going to be doing. But again, it's like there's a lot of different use cases available.